I normally start saying, first, welcome for who is new here. Who is the English speaker here? I have one. Great. Be with me. That's the first year we're doing this. Once a month we're doing English. So for many of us, I think except Andrea, because you used to do that in Brisbane, isn't it? It's the first time we are talking about that subject in English. So be patient, right? And don't be afraid to ask. It's very informal kind of meeting. We have that kind of formality, just the positions here, but it's informal. So feel free to ask any question you have, or if the Brazilians also didn't get my accent, it's a bit different. Just ask, all right? If there's any words we didn't get, we ask, and if we're not sure, we ask her. She'll help us with the right pronunciation, all right? I was thinking, listening to you saying, and then when he said, he's going to talk about the 5 books, I said, oh gosh, because they're big books. So no such of ambition to go through the books. So my aim when I was preparing it, I said, what is the aim here? So the aim is actually instigate the curiosity of everyone who is here to read the book, because it will be a learning experience, but to the individual, because that's the way books are, right? Books is always individual reading. They touch different. We'll touch my heart in one way, we'll touch everybody's hearts in a completely different way. So that's my aim today. Does anyone have never started to read one of these books, and after today they start a bit or read a chapter? I achieve it. All right. All these books are free at the internet. You can download it, PDF, and read it in English. They're all in internet in English. So I found all of them at the internet in English.
They are legally.
Yeah, sorry.
They are free legally.
Yes, legally. Yeah, all right. Thank you for that. Yeah, they are free and translated. Some of them very new translation. Some of them old translation, but all of them in English. And I haven't read them in English, so if I say anything, I'll lie. I have read them in Portuguese, but it sounds like it's good. I mean, it was just compelling the information to share tonight through the books, and actually for me it was quite, maybe because I knew the subject, I don't know, but it sounds like right, okay? But again, it's your own journey when we talk about the books. Another point just I'd like to make is about the energy passes, for who never have been with that. Maybe it's your case. What do? We first send the kids to do that, so it's on just beyond the beyond, just behind the beyond there. So we first do with the kids, and after the kids we start to get from here. You sit down. Actually, many people who maybe have been here, I don't know if you guys do that, but when you sit down, put your palms up, because that's a kind of I'm open to receive that energy. Have you done Reiki? Reiki is a kind of Reiki, but without touching, but it's just energy flowing. That's very much what it is. And the guys who we call the medium, sorry.
Yeah, just sitting on the leg, I mean, because otherwise people...
Oh, sorry, yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Relax.
Just relax, yeah. And the medium, what do we call the passistas, or medium who is giving the pass, is very much just a channel, because we believe that's done through the spiritual world, right? That's very much what we do pass, right? And same with the Buddha. The Buddha is like a blessing Buddha. Same when you go to the church and you have the blessing, what kind of authority, right? Okay, what is the 5 books? And also, I'll leave a paper here. I can send you the files already. You don't need to Google it if you want to. I have that here, and I can share also, because I made some notes. I just decided not to show so it's not that clear I'm reading. But I can share that Prezo where I have that, whatever I'm talking here tonight. All I need is just the email address before we go. So the 5 books written by Kardec, and talking about it, I forgot to mention something else. That's the 3rd Monday we're talking in English. So this is very new for us. So the first one was Andrea with what it is, the Spiritism, and then a month after was Karina talking about who was Allan Kardec, the writer, and here we now talk about the 5 books, and we go on that scale, very basic introductory kind of Mondays when we talk about it, all right? So there are 5 books. The first one called the Spiritist book, that published in 1857, and that's the main one, in my opinion, on the sense of it's kind of open the gateway for everything else after that. I'll talk a bit more about each of them. Second one was the Medium book, more dedicated about the mediumship and that connection. If there is another world, what we cannot see, which we cannot see, what we call the spiritual world, how we talk with these guys, because there's no phone number, you cannot call them, it's not online. So the Medium's book talk about it, so how we connect with them. Then you have the Gospel explained by the Spiritist doctrine, the 3rd book, that both of them, Medium's book 1861 and the Gospel 1865. Kardec, after study all the inscriptions, is it? Transcripts. That's he was inscriptions there. Transcriptions. He did a study and actually extract what, in his views, was important and also guide for the spirits. But that's what is the Gospel explained by the Spiritism. I can guarantee it's easier to read than if you're going to read the Bible. 100% easier, because it's a smaller and kind of condensed subjects. Anyway, but I'll go deeper on it. And another one, the 4th one, was published in 1865, Heaven and Hell. Very interesting title and very interesting book. I'll touch on that one later. And the 5th one is the Genesis. What's the miracles, predictions explained by the Spiritist doctrine. Very difficult book to read. That's all I can tell about that one at the moment. All right, let's do a bit of talk about each of them, all right? The Spirit's book structure. The book was structured in fact, it's questions and answer. 1,019 of them. So it's 1,019 questions and 1,019 answers. Grouped by 10, so they have all different themes on it, and occasionally interrupted by lengthier or bigger articles or specific subjects, of course, related with that theme he's treating. So that's the way, that's why I think the Spiritist book is the best way to try to understand the doctrine, because you can open the Spirit book glossary and choose one subject, one theme you want to read, and you go straight there, and it's question and answer, question and answer, question. It's very compelling, I think, easy to understand. The Spiritual books is divided in 4 parts. Part 1, it's where they deals with the universe, origins, and God's attributes. That's the part 1. Part 2, the spirit world, describe spiritual life. That life I was telling you, we don't see, we don't talk to them. We think we don't hear from them, but sometimes we do. Part 3 is the moral laws, and contains what Kardec regarded as the kernel or the seed of his doctrine. All right, the unique and fair, in his view, moral laws that provide explanation and console people in moments of anger and grief. again, you can go straight to the part 3 and read just that 10, just the area, and it's a lot of things there. Very nice, actually. Part 4, hopes and consolation. Then you talk about people's doubt about religions, tries to solve the most sensitive ones in a new light, I put there, but in a new view, you could say also. So that's the part 4 of the spiritual book. That's just the structure, huh? So main concepts. When I prepared the slide, I said, oh, how can I put a main concept of 1,019 questions, right? So I'll just select some. So it's my compiling, it's my main concept, in my opinion. So it's not really the name of everything is in there. But one is actually the first answer in the book, because Kardec just questioning. And it's good to, actually, before I get there, don't skip that part, is how they did the spiritist books. Spiritual book was actually question done by Allan Kardec through mediums who wrote that down, and he compared a lot of questions, and when he has a lot of answers, and when he has a lot of answers, same, he compiling that together, and that was the answer. So the answers was done through the spiritual world, right, to the other side. The first one is what it is, God. That was the first question, that it is the first question in the Spiritist book. And God, and the answer was, God is the supreme intelligence and primary cause of things. God is eternal, immutable, unique, omnipotent, supremely just and good. So that was the main answer. So for me, that's one of the main concepts. That's why I decided to put it straight, that first answer. Another main concept there is beyond the physical world, everything we touch, everything we see, which is the habitation of incarnate in spirits, mankind. And there is the spiritual world, which is the habitation of the discarnate spirits. So what we say is another world where everything we don't see habitate by spirits which is not incarnate. All right. So it's one of the main concepts. It's a long list of questions about specifically that theme, with a very good answers to clarify, and again, everyone will go through an individual journey to see what, oh, that makes sense, or that's not make sense for me. I need more. For each one, it will be an individual journey, but it's quite explanatory, I think, the way Kardec put it. Another concept is the spirits are the intelligent spirits, not the spiritists. Spirits are the intelligent beings of creation. So they constitute the words of the spirits which pre-exist and survives everything. Adding to it, I'll put another one because they make sense together. It's spirits, they reincarnate as many times as become necessary in order to achieve their own perfections. So the reason I put both together, because I said pre-existence survives everything. So the spirits incarnate and they are the same spirit. They have a different body, they can have a different sex, they can be in different countries, they can be in all sorts of different things, but it's still the same kind of, not same kind, still the same spirit. So you carry with you all your learnings. Sometimes we are surprised by seeing the news or whatever, kids were very clever from right beginning, all right? For somehow that connection with a lot of incarnations before he had, it's right there. So they had that connection. So everything we learn, everything we are, we carry with us, good or bad, both. We don't become angels after we disincarnate. I don't have that news through today. Another one is always spirits preserve their individuality before, during, and after each incarnation. So I just said that. And man has free will so as to act, but must respond to the consequences of his actions. Yeah, well, we believe as you have all the reincarnations, some of them is to try to evolve, to give a bit of evolution yourself in kinds or in things you haven't done before, moral kind of thing. Makes sense? All right. It's all right until now? You guys okay? Or too confusing? All right, so the next one is just showing where I selected. It doesn't, as I said, free on the internet. I found 3 different sites, very trustful. FEB, what is a Federation, Spiritism, Brazilian Federation of Spiritism, if you translate opposite. Say what is Council Spiritism International, and the other one is Consolador. Anyway, again, I can't send that through, and very easy to find and free of charge and legal. Thank you. There's nothing illegal. So next one is the medium's book structure. Or how does it structure? Divided in 2 parts. First part is a preliminary observations about spirits, supernatural. It's just 4 chapters. So it's very much introduction, really. And then you have another 32 chapters just talking about spirit manifestations. So it's very much how do I connect? How we connect? How isn't it? It's a group here who actually studying that at the moment, and it's very much the main part of the book is just talking about how does it happen, how that can be trustworthy, which way is better, which way is not very much well recommended, and how the medium can find himself a good medium or not, or that kind of thing. So it's purely about mediumship. What means, if you're not interested in that now, skip that, don't read that now, read another one. So cite whatever you feel like, all right? So main concepts again, it's Carlos' main concept, Chico's main concept, so there's nothing scientific here. Oh, yeah, you go. Sorry.
Yeah, I just want to let everyone know that the mediumship is most likely recognized as channeling in the English word. So
yep.
When you say about mediumship, you're talking about the channeling, because that medium is channeling the spiritual world, the spirit that's communicating.
No, thank you for adding that. It's like, yeah, good adding. Feel free to adding more if you help me with the present always. Yeah, good point, because at the book we will learn, or whatever read the book, we all are, one of the parts that they say, we all are mediums or have that channel. Come on, do we? That's the first reaction we have. I can't feel anything. Nobody talk to me here, just the ones I'm seeing. What are you talking about? Come on. And then I think as you start to open up, you understand some signals in your life you maybe didn't realize, but can be a kind of connection from your mentor, from friends from the spiritual worlds, from not so good friends from the spiritual worlds. Depends on which kind of intuition you have. So that kind of things, through the dreams and all that also. So we all have that channel. It's just a matter of develop it or not. That's okay also. But understand that signals is a quite good actually to have. Well, the medium's book is a work of long experience and laborious studies, which sort of clarify all the questions tied in the practice of the manifestation. So how to do it, how to practice. In agreement with the Spiritist teaching, it contains the theoretic theoretic explanation of diverse phenomena and the conditions in which they are produced. So what are the best conditions to produce it? One topic I think it is interesting, I could miss that chance to share that. Oh, sorry. Okay. The perispirit. So what it is perispirit? Perispirit is a semi-material envelope. I like that the way it was translated, because it's a good comparison. Part of the spirit. So it's a envelope, part of the spirit. The perispirit is part of the spirit, can be modified and changed for a spirit to act upon its environment. Perispirit is from the Greek, actually, and meaning outer spirit or around the spirit. The perispirit has roughly the same appearance as the spirit's last incarnation, and is what we see in apparitions. So when they appear to us, or when they appear to the mediums, it's normally the last incarnation. Otherwise, we won't recognize the person. It's like if you see your grandfather or last grandfather, great-great-grandfather, you have seen pictures. If it doesn't show up as that last incarnation, you won't recognize it. If you show up incarnations before that, so that's why normally happen. That's the two main points of the medium book, but I think it's a very dense and deep learning on that. I have to speed up a bit because I realize I don't have much time. The gospel explained by Spiritism doctrine is a very nice one to do what we call gospel at home. What it is, actually will be a full, is it next month or month after next month, right? So last Monday of May will be about that. What is gospel at home? And that's the book you can use to do it's the recommended one to do the gospel at home, but you can do it on other ones, but it's very nice it's a very nice book for G's. So divide in two parts. First one, dividing into 28 chapters, actually. That 28 chapters, the last chapter is just prayers. So I don't know how to pray. I feel like the words didn't come. Plenty of prayers there. So on that prayers you have from general prayer, prayer for others, for those no longer in heart, for sick in earth, for sick, spiritual disturbed, for all different kinds of prayers. So no excuse, just read it. It's prayer. So it's one way to start to pray. All right. In this book, I think I said that before. So what he did a study all about the Christianity begins and everything, and also did a bit of study about what was the reality in the Middle East, as Eastern Middle Eastern culture in 2,000 years ago. Because if you don't understand the culture around that period of time, you'll be hard to translate what Jesus was trying to preach, what he was trying to tell us, right? Because something doesn't make sense sometimes. So it makes sense just if you understand what it was going on that part of the world on that time. So Kardec did a bit of study on this. The core message of this book present transcend time and religion's form, because I think that's my opinion, he chose passages from the Gospels that deal exclusively with moral matters and timeless truth. So it's always what he choose. For me, it's actually experiences Jesus have gave us, what's make a lot of sense in the moral sense. If we are capable to learn how to proceed with that teaching, we actually can change the world, because everything is there, but it's hard to do it. We read, we understand, but it's hard to translate that in action. And invest all the time in that passage, right? Again, I already said that, immortal. So, in that book, he talked about salvation also. Salvation is, in the Spiritism vision, it's by action. So, and learning only. It's not another way. No single ritual or religious institutions can replace the slow ethical and intellectual evolution necessary to reunite us with God. There's no miracle. As I said before, in a joke kind of sense, we die and we just don't become saint the other day. It's amazing. I was believing that for a long time, and yeah, it didn't work like that. If I'm dead, when I die, I disincarnate, I'll be on the other side. I said, oh, bad as it is. Anyway, it's just same. We're just the same person. Whatever we are, it's what comes in the other side, just without the body. All right, that's what we believe. So that's the gospel explained by spiritual doctrine. Heaven and hell. 2 parts. Yeah, go.
Sorry to interrupt you. Before you move to the next one, I just want to remind that on the Spirit's book they asked, what's the purpose of the Spirit's books and the Spiritism? And their answer was for us to go deeper on the Jesus Christ gospel.
Yeah.
So the main purpose of everything is the gospel. So it's a very, very important. That's all.
That's all right. Thank you. Keep adding. No problem at all. Heaven and hell is divided into 2 parts. First part is 11 chapters and talk about, for the Spiritism view, how the Spiritism say heaven, what it is happiness in afterlife, or hell, what would be punishment afterlife. And actually what Kardec tells us in that book is it is a misconception. There are misconceptions about that. Because it's related with the state of the spirit after the death. It's not definitive, and there's always hope, even for the crudest criminal afterlife. So I always say that about heaven and hell. If you get tired starting to read the first part, jump for the second part, because you're going to get excited. Because the second part is 8 chapters. It's all about a series of interviews. So it's interviewing people who had died, and they talk with the mediums, and they report, they tell us what happened with them. What was their view? So it's very exciting because everyone wants to know that, all right? So if you get bored of the first part, skip it, go for the second part, because maybe you get excited and then say, oh, now I can understand a bit more. Because it's a bit more theoretical, the first bit, but the second bit is very exciting to understand and see people telling their story, what happened after that, all right? Heaven and hell. How can I tell about that? It's true that second part's a lot of examples of law and progress. So even the most stubborn spirit will eventually choose to change. So I think to get the main points of heaven and hell, I think is that second part, when you read what people go through or what spirits go through after they disincarnate, after to the other side. I think the main concept is just give you that taste, what it is like. Again, free the internet also. And then the 5th book, then the Genesis, miracles and predictions explained by the Spiritist doctrine. 3 main sections. Part 1 talk about the Genesis. So God, evil, Spiritist view of the biblical Genesis. So it's our view about the biblical Genesis. Part 2 talk about miracles. Well, nowadays we still talk about, we call that miracles, but that's explain a lot of phenomena in human history, what is actually, maybe it's not really a miracle, it's just something was there and we didn't understand that. That's very much what they try to say there, and plenty of examples to try to prove it. And part 3 is the predictions. Discuss premonitions of future events, the prediction of the Gospels, try to discuss the ones presented at the Gospels, what that sits with the Spiritism view, and there are characteristics and implications of the coming evolution of the earthly plane. So that's the Genesis. Very dense book. In my opinion, it doesn't make much sense to read that before you read at least Spiritism book, because a lot of terms, a lot of things, it is dense. It's very dense. So, in my opinion, but again, everyone jump to your own journey. Go online, read the introduction of each of them, and see which one you decide to go, and just have a read. And that's very much the main objective today for me was to plant a seed in everyone's mind and try to do that exercise. I have to thank you, everyone who is here and is not an English speaker, and make the effort to be with me and try to together explain and try to share that knowledge or share that experience with you guys. And patient, got there, went through the test, got the test, all right. I think that's it. Forgot anything? Well, one thing, if I have another minute, it's, I think one of, for me, the big learners with that, many of these books, but with the Spiritism is about the action. It's about the action, how we can act to become morally better, and how we can act to change things. We normally have a tendency to think, oh, the government have to get better, my neighbor have to get better, my boss need to get better, everyone around me, well, they're doing so wrong. It's impossible. This world will never be good. That's the way we think. But for me, the big learning with the Spiritism, when I first met this doctrine, it's not the way it actually happened. It's just us. We need to do the first step. We have to be the ones who step out and do volunteering and do laugh a bit more and be welcoming people around you, be more patient, be more forgiveness, and all these things. We cannot expect the others to do for us. I think that's the main message in thinking the gospel according to Spiritism is one of them. We need to do that step. Don't wait. One good joke I used to do at home with my kids, and when we do the gospel at home, are you ready to die tomorrow? Are you ready to talk with your mentor on the other side? Because they tell that happen, right? So when we die, got to the other side, the mentor comes to you, mate, what have you done? Well, wasn't that right? No, you're supposed to do this, you know, are you ready for that talk? What have you done? I think that's the exam we have to do ourselves. And the books is just a guide. It's just a tool for us to guide through and take doubts and all this, all right? All right, be with me a bit more. We're going to do a final pray. So when we're doing the final pray, the people who is the healers, 1 minute?
No, I just want to remind people that we actually have those books here as well.
Oh, sorry, thank you. Yeah.
So those that prefer to go online, that's great. But we also have them all of them in Portuguese, and I believe most of them in English. So it's available.
It's one of them we don't have in English. Can't remember which one it is. Elder, maybe we remember. It's just one of these books we don't have here in English, but we have all of them, most of them, right? Yeah, feel free just to ask if they're not there on the table in front, all right? And with the books, as Fernando said, just take it, read it, and when you finish, return for other people to read. That's it. We don't have any control, anything. Nothing. I was looking for you there. You move quick. All right. So we do a final pray. Again, that's new for me. Let's see how I go. If you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes. So I chose one from the book. It was easy for me to follow through, but also could be a good sample what we have there in the book ready to go. So that pray is about forgive. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive them that trespass against us. Lord, each one of our infractions against your laws is an offense we commit against you, a debt contract which sooner or later we will have to be paid. We implore that you forgive us through your infinite mercy, subject to the promise we make to employ all our strength in not contracting others' faults. You made charity and express love for everyone, but charity does not only consist of helping our fellows, being in all their needs, but also in the forgetfulness and the forgiving of offenses. With that right, do we demand your indulgence if we lack charity towards those who have given us motive for complaints. Dear Lord, give us the strength to stifle with ourselves all resentment, hate, and rancor. Do not lead death surprise us with a desire for vengeance in our hearts. If you approve of our being taken from this world today, help us to be able to present ourselves to you completely cleansed of animosity, just like Christ, whose last words were in favor of his tormentors. I think that's all for tonight. I really appreciate your patience, and let's pray and ask Lord angels or mentors to be with us during the week, give us insights and giving us input for leading us for the right way. Thank you.